Activity is paranormal. Morty Rick stepped through a damn portal. Yeah, know where we going. Now said we prepared for him. I will not fear a mere mortal. Been a couple years, I'm still recording. Much love to my peers that cheer for him. And fuck any nigga that cheered on. I'm obscure. Just a big kid, I don't go and I'm mature. I'm here totally ballin', now they immature. Flow is sick, is switching up, don't got a cure. Yeah. Ain't no China or white, this opioid is pure, yeah. Beat the pot like a chef, watch me strip, sipping on crank, it's out of fear. Hit me with haste, it's out of fear. I take it slow, I see it clear. I'm rocking Gucci, I might say pure. I stepped through the pain, I had to endure. My pockets been healthy like they drinking sure. Get in the mouth, I feel just like they cheer. I took some damage, I had to incur. Went through shit, but it fertilized me like a nerve. My niggas say shiesty, big purr, that pussy entice me, she gotta lure. I'm out in Cleveland just like Cavalier, or it might be Columbus. I gotta make sure your path looking blocked and you gotta deter. There's no reason to quit, no, you can't get deterred. Shit on these niggas, but just like a turd. Give a fuck by their feelings, I put them to bird. All by myself, I'm not with a herd. That pussy too good, I cannot find a word to describe this. Book in my time, I'm gonna need a stipend. Eating a brown avocado is ripe. These niggas, they pussy, they scary, they frightened. My pocket, they giant, like a titan. Don't got no time to stop top, I ain't right. She show me your titties in real life, oh, we ain't Skyping. Yeah, spend all this time alone in meditation. Activity is paranormal. Morty Rick stepped through a damn portal. Yeah, know where we going. Now said we prepared for him. I will not fear a mere mortal. Been a couple years, I'm still recording. Much love to my peers that cheer for him. And fuck any nigga that cheered on. I'm obscure. Just a big kid, I don't never want to mature. I'm in poly ballin', now they immature. Flow is sick and switching up, don't got a cure. Yeah. Ain't no China white, this opioid is pure, yeah.
We just watching water cycles, atmospheres interacting, read it out the Bible. Bitch, I got the aim like I be carrying a rifle. Babe, we going up, it's like we standing on the Eiffel. I still got the vision, I can see it with my eyes closed. Feeling like my city on my back, can't let them die slow. You be acting silly, that's why she gon' let her eyes roll. I go back and forth with shit, I gotta try, oh. Babe, when it come to fly, though, when I'm really up in my mode, burning shit up like a pyro, watching the way shit spiral, just formulate my final, clean up like an anti-pyro, I stick to my roots like tribal, I don't give a fuck about the title, but baby, you know it's my goal, yeah.
I can never stop rising the wave, riding the way up, getting high today. She make that pussy pop, she had a break. So Angelus, if I listen to Mason's mind, they might just call me scandalous. She wanna fuck with the other man, tell her homeboys duck and she wanna man. And I'm chilling in the cup with a queen of cups and a nice little cake like Duncan, like obsidian. This up is really a start, settle the differences, not just the physical plane, mentally, spiritually, emotional. Go for it. Bring her back like grocery. That little famous, that's my cousin. We go back like Oches. I remember all the funny, dangerous nights in Joseph. Mama had me at the castle, trying to dodge the atrocity. I'm obscure like Moby, immature like Loki. She gon' shake it like duck tea. I'ma hit it like dope feet. Man, money, that's no tea. My support, that's something. I done said it for the umpteen. I'm obscure.
Good, Bill. Young Bill's Digital World in the chat. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started here today. Let me go ahead and stop sharing that screen for a moment. But, yeah, if y'all wondering what that song is, it's posted on my page. But that's also a song that has been uploaded on St. Uno's page for a while. So if y'all ain't heard that shit, go ahead and check out the original version and then what I call a me mix. I don't like the word remix because I don't like redoing shit. So it's called a me mix anytime that I make something off of some shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all check that shit out on my page. Check it out on St. Uno's page and all that good shit. So yeah, we just go get straight into it today. We got some shit to break down for y'all. Somebody had came into my comment section on the other karma video that I made. I've actually made like 3 of them at this point. This might be the 4th or the 3rd. I'm not sure. But somebody commented on one of the videos that I made where I was talking about how people can get utilized as a vessel for karma for certain influences and shit like that. And they had asked me a question about it. And they brought up somebody's name, right? A person who was involved with like a murder and shit like that. So, yeah, I wanted to basically show you guys this guy's photo and break down like what type of people are actually susceptible to these type of influences when we're talking about like on on a super negative scale. So first of all, we're going to break down the shit that be happening whenever you actually start to involve yourself with somebody, and then people who are more susceptible to certain types of energies and influences when it comes to the karmic influence and shit like that, when you're dealing with somebody else's karma, right? So, for example, whenever we come into relationships, or whenever you're just starting to involve yourself with a person on a day-to-day basis, what y'all need to understand is we all have our own unique environment. That's what we're all working on developing right now. We're all working on developing our internal environment, right? That way, our physical reality and the three that we're experiencing externally, the environment that we're experiencing externally, can be more in tune and more aligned with what we're doing internally. That way it can reflect outwardly, and we can actually see these things. And we can actually, if you're doing some good, positive shit and trying to, well, not trying, I just do shit, but when you're making something happen, you know what I mean? At that point, you can actually see it in reality. And you'll recognize it just because of all the internal energy that you've worked to develop that environment. When your reality starts reflecting it, you're going to realize it, and you're going to recognize it, because it's like, oh yeah, that's part of, you know what I'm saying? That's part of my creations. That's the shit that I was doing. So now I can actually see it. But that's what y'all need to understand, what's happening when we're dealing with people, because by default, the realm of reality is going to reflect what we have going on internally in the first place. You get what I'm saying? So, for example, just real quick to prove this to you guys so that y'all know that this ain't no bullshit. And yeah, we back on Instagram. My video yesterday had fucked up, so I wasn't able to upload it. So if anything happens again and I start saying like, hey, IG's fucking up, y'all just pop over on YouTube so you can see the end of the video and actually see it be uploaded and shit like that. But yeah, just to give y'all an actual physical example so that y'all not just thinking I'm making shit up right now, of how the external environment is actually a reflection of our internal environment. Think about this, right? Whenever you're like driving on the road or some shit. Oh, you back on Instagram. Yeah, word, I hear you. But when you actually out in the environment and stuff like this, think about this for a second. Whenever you drive up to a stoplight or something, right? And the sun is directly in the background, whether it be a setting sun or it's just like in equivalence with the stoplight that you're sitting at the moment. You get what I'm saying? You're sitting at the stoplight. The sun is like directly behind it, right? But you can still see the brightness and the light shining. You can still see the stoplight, even though technically speaking, if we're thinking about it logically and shit like that, and they say that the sun is the brightest star or whatever, well, they don't say that it's the brightest star in the universe, but it's the brightest local star or whatever that they try to say about this shit, astronomy wise and stuff. Why would you be able to see something that we physically made consciously? You get what I'm saying? Why if that is the brightest star in our universe and that's some shit that some god outside of us made, or the universe blew up or whatever they want to tell you, and it was made in that type of aspect and it has no tie to us at all, why would we be able to make a creation that's able to shine with equivalency or outshine the sun itself? You get what I'm saying? So this proves to you that whatever we're creating internally, whatever we're doing in our internal environment is directly reflected outwardly. Because if it weren't the case, we would not be able to consciously make a light that competes with the sunlight. You get what I'm saying? So you can pull up to a stoplight with the sun directly in the background, and typically it would be blinding the fuck out of you, right? But you can sit there and the sun's directly in the background, yet you can still see if the light is red, yellow, or green. You get what I'm saying? Otherwise, it would be impossible. There would be no way for us to make any type of external light that would be able to compete with that we're viewing, unless we're doing the same thing internally. You get what I'm saying? Depending upon closeness and distance, and depending upon brightness and dimness too. You get what I'm saying? How are we able to do that? And it's at a much smaller degree. A stoplight is only fucking this big. They're claiming the sun is however much bigger. You get what I'm saying? That right there goes to show you and let you know that what we're doing internally, the lights and creations that we're making internally, is directly reflected outwardly. It's the same type of shit going on. We're inside of another being, and we're doing the same thing within ourselves. We're creating this environment. We're creating these lights. We're creating everything. So that just shows you that whether it's conscious, unconscious, or subconscious, wherever it comes from, you get what I'm saying? It's something that we have access to within ourselves. Otherwise, nobody would be able to come up with the idea to have a LED light or a fucking stoplight conformed out of whatever type of lights they put into it that would actually be able to outshine that sunlight. Otherwise, we would never be able to see the sunlight, and we would have to come up with some other new type of system to where when the sun is in this certain specific type of time frame, as far as the sun is setting or whatever, we would have to come up with a new system to direct people around like four-way intersections and shit like that. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying? What this just proves to you what I'm saying is correct, because there's no other way to view it. How would we be able to make something that competes with that? You get what I'm saying? How can us little humans down here on earth in human bodies with all these limitations and shit that we put on ourselves, how would we be able to make a light that shine brighter than the sun and compete with the sunshine? You get what I'm saying? So this is what people need to realize when we're dealing with karma. It's an internal environment that get reflected outwardly. So therefore, something within your internal environment is agreeing to certain terms and conditions that are put in place whenever you start to deal with somebody, right? That's why whenever you go into certain environments and you're around certain type of people and stuff like that, you start picking up on different types of thought forms, different ways of thinking, different ways of feeling and stuff like that. You start getting certain different things trying to influence you and stuff like that. That's why you'll have certain situations where certain people, they would never react and respond, and they would never act out in certain ways around this group of friends. But when they're around this one specific person, or they're around this other group of friends, they're always chaotic and reckless and shit like that. But you know this person whenever they're over here in this environment. You know what I'm saying? You know they're extremely cautious and shit like that. Like they wouldn't do certain things. But when they come over here around these other people, we're dealing with different influences. We're stepping into other people. We're dealing with other people's environments. It's a give and exchange type of situation. You know what I'm saying? So what's going to happen is, like I spoke about in my last video, y'all's environments are going to react. So if there's something that they've been attracting in their environment, karmically, however you want to view it, I don't even like using the term karma, because we're at the end of the day, it's just our own creations. It's whatever we're building and developing at the moment. So if this person has been on strictly dumb shit for the last fucking few years of their life or whatever, you will start to see certain mentalities and certain things in the environment playing out if you're actually aware enough to pick up on it. You get what I'm saying? Subconsciously or unconsciously or consciously. Certain people get things in different ways. So I can't really put that down to a certain type of pin tip. You know what I'm saying? But certain people pick up on things in different ways. So like I said, when you start to involve yourself with this person, there's going to be certain influences that are coming around. And like I said, if you're involving yourself with a person who has been developing a whole bunch of negative shit, and that's what they're creating, so they're going to get that get back from that regardless. You know what I'm saying? When you come into that environment, now you have to deal with jumping those hurdles as far as being bared down with certain thought forms and feelings and certain mentalities and certain characters that you could express throughout this environment, whether that need to be you being the example of this person needing to go a different way and change the steps that they're taking in their life, and showing them how, yeah, like we're actually physically putting these stepping stones down. Like you're walking towards this type of outcome. This is what you're creating. You know what I'm saying? But I'm over here doing this, and this is the shit that I'm creating. This is the direction that I'm going. You know what I'm saying? That there will be certain shit like that that will play out. So keep in mind, if you're a person that's not very aware, or a person who hasn't done the shadow work to necessarily know who you are and shit like that, and know when you're being influenced by certain things just by being around a specific person at the moment, you get what I'm saying? This is why you will have situations where people will be best friends at first, and then they end up worst enemies, or you end up best friends with a person and then you end up fighting that person or robbing that person or doing something crazy to them or some shit like that. It's because of shit like this. Whatever you've been developing on your own time, it leaves you open to those type of influences. You get what I'm saying? If you're also building like a negative type of space or some shit like that, this person might even deserve to get beat up. This person might even deserve to get their house robbed or shot up or whatever the fuck y'all be on. that's on y'all. You know what I'm saying? But they might deserve that. But you need to realize whatever it is that you're developing on your own time leaves you open to shit like that. So whatever you're building makes you want to express energies of and leaves you open and susceptible to those moments where those influences and those mentalities can come in to make you react and respond in a certain way, make you act out of character, make you do certain things just based on whatever you're doing on your own time. So when these environments come together and they start to interact and shit like that, you're going to start developing more shit. So this person might deserve to get robbed or whatever the fuck you are thinking about doing to them at the moment. But you got to think about it. Whatever you developing in your own time and whatever you're building towards and shit like that, positive or negative, however the fuck you doing it, yeah, they might deserve to get robbed. But a person who's developing shit on a more positive tip, they're not going to be influenced by shit like that. Even if the thought forms pop up in their head and shit, like they'll be like, yeah, maybe that person do deserve it, but like I'm not the one who need to be doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because the person who's developing negative shit and it's two negative people coming together, this person might deserve to get beat up, but you might deserve to go to jail and get charged with assault and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful of how this shit play out. And this goes into all type of multitude of ways, whether you're dealing with creative relationships with people, whether you're dealing with romantic relationships with people, whether you're dealing with friendships with people and shit like that. Your environment. And this is why a lot of people be confused about when they get done wrong by people and shit like that, or in the aspect of what y'all are viewing as wrong, or when y'all take shit like super emotionally and personally and shit like that, even if it might, you know, objectively you view it and be like, yeah, that was kind of fucked up. That person didn't need to do that to that person. But still, you know what I mean? A lot of times people just being themselves and setting like healthy boundaries and shit like that, or separate for you for a reason that you necessarily don't need to be known about, or it don't need to be explained to you or some shit, right? But you will take it personally and think that a person has done wrong to you. But that's in your perspective. So it still do seem like somebody has done wrong to you because you deserve that at the moment. You're still developing that at the moment. That's why a lot of women be confused when they attract a lot of user type of relationships where dudes will use them and abuse them mentally, emotionally, sexually, physically, however the fuck it may come. You get what I'm saying? And that's why y'all be so confused. You need to take a look at what you're doing, what you're developing on your own time, the type of shit that you be into on your own time, the type of shit that you bringing forth, the type of shit that you're willing to accept and shit like that. That's why you deserve to get used. So certain situations, if a woman don't know about it, like I wouldn't even damn near tell a woman like, hey, you getting used at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like if she's just in la la land and stupid and shit like that, like, yeah, you probably deserve to get used up a little bit so that you kind of realize what the fuck's going on. That way you can actually change. Like I seen somebody post some shit. I seen a video earlier saying some shit like, if you want newness in your life and if you want something that you ain't ever had before, you got to do shit that you ain't ever done before. You know what I mean? We kind of get stuck into this loop of routine and patterns, and it make us think that we can keep doing the same shit, and we're basically all just stuck in insanity at the end of the day. That's the definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So we get stuck in these routines and patterns, and we think if I go to work and I work harder and I take all the overtime that I can and I get all these extra hours and my paychecks be fatter, then I'll be able to be rich or whatever. Then I'll be able to save up enough money to invest in this business or whatever. But no, you need to be taking on action on that before you even got, you know what I'm saying? Before you even got that. Whether that be you got to go and fucking take a piece of fucking, what do they call that? Sandpaper. You know what I'm saying? Even if you got to go take a piece of sandpaper and smooth up a piece of wood and draw whatever design that you're trying to make with a fucking pencil on a piece of wood, or a fucking hot knife, and do some wood burning shit, whatever you got to do, whatever you have at the moment, that's where you need to start at. You need to be operating on new shit. You know what I'm saying? Even if it looked broken, goofy at the moment, like don't get caught up in the shit looking broken, goofy at the moment. Like don't give a fuck about that. Don't give a fuck about how nobody views it. Even if you're acting out on something that might necessarily be like feminine or some shit at the moment, like don't give a fuck how nobody views that shit, bro. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to build, that's for you. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you feel like you don't have it at the moment, or you don't have the tools necessary to make it happen. like externally. Like, you know what to do internally. You just feel like you don't have that shit externally. Just start acting on it. Whatever you got to do, whether you got to go and fucking gather up a whole bunch of pieces of trash and fucking make like handbags and wallets out of fucking duct tape and pieces of fucking Kool-Aid jammer boxes and shit like that. I've seen people do this. Whatever you got to do to start making it happen, just do that shit. Start acting out in that energy. That's what's going to help correlate your environment more to that energy of whatever that it is you're trying to be into. And then the external environment, like I told y'all with the example with the sunlight and the stoplight, your internal environment is going to reflect externally, and then you'll have everything tied together and you'll have everything you need, or what you feel like you need, because you didn't even need that shit in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But don't worry about how people is going to view you. That, like, fuck that. Things are going to get better for you regardless, just based on you acting out in newness. Because this is what y'all need to understand too. You're always one moment. You're always 1 millisecond away from greatness. You get what I'm saying? Or you're always 1 millisecond away from support that you feel like you need. You're always 1 millisecond away from being a genius or being whatever it may be. Like I said, in the past video I made, there's a thin line between genius and stupid. So for example, like, you ever seen those big dance circles and shit like that at like school or something? You know what I'm saying? Where everybody get together and they'll have one person come into the middle, and the person in the middle start dancing or whatever, and people hype them up and shit. That's a perfect example of this, right? So for example, a goofy ass white dude, like if I had on like nerd glasses or some shit and fucking had my pants hiked up to my belly button and shit, I could hop in that circle, start being really goofy, and everybody's looking at this motherfucker like, what are you doing? Like, that's weird. You know what I'm saying? But then when I hit that beat and I hit that move in the right type of way, boom, then everybody's like, oh shit. And you know what I'm saying? Then everybody's like, oh God, you know what I'm saying? That is the perfect example for this. You're always 1 millisecond away from greatness. You get what I'm saying? You're always 1 second away from whatever it is that you feel like you're lacking and needing at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to support you till you know what I'm saying? Till you hit that shit the right way, till you hit that beat right on cue, till you hit that, you know what I'm saying? So that's why we just need to be taking action in our off time and doing things in our off time and developing this environment internally. That way it can be reflected and we can actually see that shit. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? But yeah, the women getting used, can't forget some of these girls use men that want to fuck them and put them in the cuck zone. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it play out vice versa all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking on people in general right now. That was just kind of an example. Don't get lost into the physical aspect of me calling it you being in a male or female body at the moment. Just take it in stride and realize that men be doing this shit, women be doing this shit too. Men be the stupid ones and simps and shit who be getting used up too. So don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't get it fucked up in that aspect. And the job shit, take that paycheck and just immediately spend it on your gifts for sure. Yeah, do that, but also don't just lose grip with your responsibilities and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? If you're a person who's built up a lot of responsibilities, car payments, insurance, bills, and shit like that, don't bail out on your responsibilities too. Put as much as invest as much of it as you can into your gifts and talents, but don't forget about your responsibilities. Don't forget that your mom needs to be paid off. Don't forget that your rent needs to be paid. Don't forget that you have a car note that comes out on this specific time of the month and shit like that. So don't get lost into that either. And don't get, like I said, don't be thinking that you need to work more and take all this overtime hours. Like, no, even if you're broke, take those times that they're offering you overtime hours to come back and work on the creative attributes and the shit that you're really trying to do, the shit that you're really passionate and interested in. You know what I'm saying? Do that shit, because that's going to give you esoteric currency. That's going to give you internal currency. That's going to develop your confidence and shit like that. That way, whenever you do convey certain things, you have a better way of going about it, because that's like one of the most important things to get attention down here. You know what I'm saying? And giving attention to yourself, giving that love to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And having that confidence within yourself. That way, when it's actually expressed outwardly, people like confidence. People are attracted to shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So utilize that, develop your confidence. That way, when you're going into these things, you aren't all nervous about it. And whenever you're expressing it, you're like, oh, like, I don't know if they're really going to like this or not, or some shit like that. That's going to make people not like it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't even fuck with it like that, like how you expect other people to fuck with it like that. You know what I'm saying? But all right, let's get into more of what the video title is actually about here. So, like I said, I don't know if y'all have heard this story or not. This isn't typically shit that I like to talk about, but this person asked me a question and I looked up a photo of this person's mugshot, and it actually directly correlates to a lot of shit that I've observed throughout life and shit like that, right? So we're gonna get into this. I don't know if a lot of you guys like have heard this story, but there's a story. I'm pretty sure it's like a little bit more local to me. I think I'm not sure. I don't know if this was like national news or whatever, but there's a story of a girl called like Gypsy Rose or some shit, right? And she was developing a whole bunch of negative energies towards her own mother, right? So she gets with a dude and she convinces the dude to kill the mom. You get what I'm saying? So that's what we're observing today. We're observing this dude's mugshot to show y'all how whenever we're actually just spirits before we create the organs and shit like that, it go to show you how this shit play out. You know what I'm saying? Like when people are lacking in certain areas, you can actually see it on their physical bodies. You can see it on their physical organs and shit like that. Whether a person have certain troubles with internal organs, or whether a person's constructed their body in a certain way, whether they're fat or skinny, or you know what I'm saying, different shit like that. So if y'all are on the IG side, I'm not moving my phone. Like I'm using IG as kind of like a sample platform now. Y'all are only gonna see like the tidbits of what's really going on. So if y'all want to see what I'm talking about, come over here onto the YouTube side and we'll get into what we talking about here. So like I said, somebody showed me this guy right here, this fucking guy, and this right here is like the perfect mugshot description to show you. Okay, so this dude, like I said, this dude right here was he got with this girl. Let me find her fucking mugshot right here. Here go both of them. You know what I'm saying? Boom. This was the girl that he was dating supposedly, and this is the fucking guy. Look how weird this motherfucker look anyways. Before we even get into this, god damn, that is a fucking weird ass looking dude. That's a creepy ass looking that's a goddamn dwarven fucking elf face has. Like, oh my god. And she looked crazy. She looked weird as fuck too. But she is actually released at this point. You get what I'm saying? She's released at this point. She is actually married, has like a child on the way and all type of shit. And she got this dude to kill her mom. So I think he's in prison for life. She got out last year or some shit like that, or this year or something. I don't know. But that don't really matter. We don't need the context at all. We just need to see how they've constructed their faces and shit like that. So you see how this motherfucker got super dry ass chapped lips. You know what I'm saying? And you see how his jaw is like sunken in. You get what I'm saying? And you see how he like she has more roundness in her jawline. That's probably why she was able to get out of it a little bit better, because you see okay, so what we're dealing with now, we're in the third house space, because this is connected to the throat chakra, this is connected to the mouth, the communication station and shit like that. You get what I'm saying? So when this spirit of whoever's controlling this body right now, this spirit was developing these things, you can see a lacking here, because the jawline is extremely rounded. The jawline is even sunken in back to the neck a little bit, and he's got dry lips. So that go to show you right there that he was lacking in certain areas when he was developing his throat chakra region. And when the organs actually developed as far as the mouth, the tongue, the lips, the fucking teeth, I'd like to see what his teeth look like. But the chin and the jawline and the neck and shit like that. When you see, and he's got a real hairy neck too. Keep that in mind. He's got a real hairy neck too. Why you need all that hair on your neck and shit like that? You know what I'm saying? So this right here just proved to you that he was lacking whenever he was developing these things. Now you can see, because we're still, you know what I'm saying? Even in the head region, we got the first house up here at the top on the crown. Second house come here. It might deal with the eyes a little bit, but it's more so just the third eye space. You know what I'm saying? And the ears to see. You know what I'm saying? So I think once we get down below the eyebrows and shit like that, because you kind of have to intellectualize based on your sight down here in reality. So I think the eyes would be more tied to the third house, if anything. But you see, she's got more of a squared off jawline, even though it is rounded. You know what I'm saying? She's got the roundness too, which would leave her open to certain things as well. That's why she was open to certain influences to play out of actually facilitating someone to get hired, or her actually having the ability and the gift of gab and the wordplay to actually convince this dude over here on the right to go and kill her mother. You get what I'm saying? So whatever her mother was doing and developing in her own time, and whatever negative shit she was doing, that is what helped her create deserving to get murdered at the end of the day, right? So, and whatever Gypsy Rose was developing on her own time, you see how her eyes are like tilted inward and shit like that? You get what I'm saying? You see how her eyes are tilted inward more? She kind of looked Asian too. You know what I'm saying? But her eyes are like tilted more inwardly towards the inside of her nose. So that lets you know that she's more inwardly focused. You get what I'm saying? She's not exactly outwardly focused. Her eyes aren't straight exactly. Like, even if the eyeballs themselves, like y'all are looking at my mouse and shit, I think anyways, like, I believe y'all can see my mouse over here. Anybody let me know if we can't. I'm looking at the fucking, oh shit. Somebody said y'all can't see it. Can y'all can see it here whenever I'm just like this? Whenever I change, it goes back to black. Is that what happens? Whenever I actually go to view that screen myself, it changes to black. Okay, y'all can see it whenever I'm like this. So fuck, we're gonna have to do it on this type of timing. Okay. So yeah, like I said, pay attention. We're gonna run this shit back a little bit so that we're not lost in the sauce here. Can y'all see my mouse? If anybody in here, let me know. Can y'all actually see my mouse on the screen? You get what I'm saying? Can you see my mouse? Can you see where I'm pointing at right now? Like you can see my mouse on the screen. Okay, we can see the mouse. Good. But yeah, like I said, the jawline, the lips chapped. Y'all just run back everything in y'all's mind I just told you. That way I ain't gotta go through it over again type shit. But you see the dude on the right, okay? His mouth, lips chapped as fuck. See how his jawline is constructed. See how the chin is sunk in more to the neck and shit like that. Look how Gypsy Rose, even if she's sitting, like, I lean my head back when I take photos by default. Like, y'all can see that on my mug shots and shit. Like, I lean my head back. Even that photo that I be putting in my music videos where I'm young as fuck, spreading the money and shit, I tilted my head back. I always do that for some reason. But she's more like this. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like her resting pose. Like her jawline protrudes outwardly and shit like that. And it's real distance from the neck. Look how his is more sunken in and more like, you know what I'm saying? Like tucked in and shit. This lets you know that this person, he don't speak out for himself very much. So that will let you know that he is susceptible to certain influences when it comes to third house shit, when it comes to people communicating with him, when it comes to people intellectualizing things, when it comes to people having influence over him as far as verbally and hitting him with the gift of gab and shit like that. He's lacking in those areas and shit. You see what I'm saying? But with Gypsy Rose over here on the left, we have the sunken in eyes, like I said, which correlate and show you that she's more inwardly focused. So she's not necessarily caring about what's going on outside of her. She's more focused on whatever intellectuality and whatever thought she has going on in her own brain. And like I said, the jawline protruding outwardly like that, and she has more of a squareness to it. This lets you know that she know how to intellectualize things a little bit better and more sufficiently than this guy over here on the right, who was her ex-boyfriend, who she convinced to murder her mother, right? So that show you that. And it's even funny too. Like, she's got certain spots and markings here on her chin line and shit. Like, she's got freckles or moles or whatever this shit is. So in my mind, that make it seem like she put extra energies into this house. That's why she got, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she got like a pretty good jawline, even though she got a little bit of a butt chin. Haha. But you know what I'm saying? She got a little bit better of a jawline. You know what I'm saying? But be aware too. People who have extremely like squared and chiseled jawlines, a lot of times these people be either way too logical and it makes them emotionally stupid and shit like that, or vice versa. They're completely lacking in that area, even though they were able to construct it good. You know what I'm saying? I've seen certain people who have super square jawlines be the biggest idiots in the world. And I think it's just due to lacking emotional intelligence. They put too much emphasis on the throat chakra area and tying all these organs together. So they know that intellectuality and left brain logic and shit like that need to be more squared out and stuff. So they have a good understanding of the intellect and what it takes to actually create the throat chakra and develop these organs sufficiently like that and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But just be careful. That's what makes these people stupid. They're extremely logical, and they might even be able to communicate well, and they might even have like what y'all want to call like a sexy voice or whatever. Like certain women be like, if a dude has like a super deep, soothing type of soulful voice or some shit like that, 9 times out of 10, pay attention to them. They either got like a strong ass neck bone and like a strong ass Adam's apple or some shit like that, or they have like a super squared off cheekbones and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just pay attention. Her shit is outwardly protruding, like I said. So that means that she's able to speak out more. You get what I'm saying? So she's able to speak whatever those two eyes of how they're more inwardly positioned. Like I said, even though the eyeballs are looking straight forward, like they're looking straight forward, her eyes aren't crossed, she don't have a lazy eye or nothing like that. But the actual eye sockets themselves and the way that the eyes are positioned, it puts them more inwardly. So like I said, that's going to give more emphasis on your own internal. You're going to be viewing more of your own internal, your own thinking, your own intellectuality and shit like that, right? So that is what made her susceptible to the influence of giving her mom what she deserved as far as whatever she was developing to get murdered. That made her be more susceptible to that because, you know, we're dealing with thoughts and feelings and intellectuality all the time. You get what I'm saying? We're receiving shit all the time. But certain people don't know how to separate what's actually them and what they're receiving from certain environments and shit like that. So she spent a lot of time around her mom and shit like that. And she even got one eyebrow up naturally. That's interesting too. I'll have to think about that one. But like I said, she spent a lot of time around her mom and stuff like that, right? So whatever her mom was developing and whatever she was developing on her own time, right? The environments interacted with each other. And she started picking up on certain thought forms and feelings like, damn, I need to get this bitch killed. Like, she's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to get her murdered and shit like that, right? So she thought that was her own idea when really it was just an influence based upon whatever karma her mom was developing and whatever reason she deserved to be killed for. It was just the interaction of those two environments coming together. And whatever Gypsy was developing on her own time, it came to grips of like why this idea makes sense and why she needs to make that happen. And Gypsy deserved to go to prison and get let out after a few years for facilitating this, right? But now, whatever that this Nick, what is his name? Nick Godejohn, whatever this dude, Nick Godejohn, was developing in his own time, and whatever he did to develop this throat chakra and his intellectuality and shit like that, and his way of expressing things and stuff, it made him susceptible to the influence. He deserved to go to prison for the rest of his life for whatever he was developing on his own time. But when him and Gypsy Rose came together, he also deserved to get influenced in that type of way. He also deserved to get convinced of why he needs to commit murder and shit like that, based upon whatever that he was developing in his own time. You get what I'm saying? So this goes to show you. Stop sharing the screen so my fucking face cam ain't skipping and shit like that. But that goes to show you right there that your environment directly correlates to your outside experiences and shit like that. And not only that, whatever you're doing internally, whatever you're developing internally leaves you susceptible and open to certain things. And based upon how I just broke it down, it should reveal to y'all that certain people, just the way that they look can show you, and the way that they express and the way that their organs were developed and shit like that can show you what type of space that they was in whenever they were developing these things as a spirit before it actually became reality and it actually became physical matter and became a physical organ and shit like that. The environment itself before it actually came into reality. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, big shout out to that person who did that. You know what I'm saying? Who sent me that question and shit like that. Like that tied a lot of shit together that I've already been thinking about. That's why I was so ready and able to upload a video about it one day after the comment appeared in my chat or whatever. You get what I'm saying? There's something fucking stuck by my feet. I don't like that. Like, I like being able to fucking move around and stretch out and shit. Like, if you got shit stuck by my feet, I'm about to get pissed off and shit. Get that box out of here. But anyways, yeah. So take this in stride and observe people in reality. You get what I'm saying? So for example, if a person is like really fat, right? Think about it. This is where your emotional space is at, right? This is where you're dealing with all your emotions at, for the most part. Some people carry emotions more in their heart. Some people carry them in different places, but majority of people carry them down here. Y'all can't see me. Oh, my chair is already up as high as it can. I can't give y'all physical representations, but most people's anxiety is down here in the gut region, dealing with fucking 5th house down to 7th house, damn near. You get what I'm saying? So because for you to feel some type of way about some shit, you got to take some shit personally. So that's why it deals with the 1st house in general too. So keep that in mind. You got to take some shit personally to feel some type of way about it. You got to feel like something is happening to you. You get what I'm saying? You got to directly feel like something is happening to you, whether you're suffering through life, whether you're just depressed for whatever reason. That's still you taking something personally. You feel like something is happening to you. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling, you know what I'm saying? The key word, you get what I'm saying? So that's why I tie in with that. And the 7th house, just because you need to balance that shit out. That's why I say the 7th house. I use the 7th house to balance those emotions out and let them trickle down into more of my leg region and shit like that. That way the Sagittarius energies can fucking put it loaded up in a bow and arrow quiver and shoot off whatever is unnecessary or needs to be expanded at the moment and made bigger and brought a broader awareness to it. Whether it need to impact my status in some type of way, whether it need to be on some Neptunian type of shit with the Aquarius energies, and whether it needs to be some Pisces dreamland type shit that I can actually walk out in reality and act out those emotions. Because I like, it's kind of like reverse. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like reverse. A lot of people will take the 12th house Pisces energies and think that this is supposed to be something that you correlate to your head top and shit like that, and you correlate to where you're imagining and dreaming at and shit like that. No, like the 1st house is supposed to allow this shit to trickle down. Whatever you've got on your head top as far as imagination and dreams and shit like that, it's the energy of the 12th house. That's what you need to understand. It's the energy of the 12th house. The 12th house actual practical use, it lets you step on them dreams with your feet, with your fucking feet organs and shit like that externally. Like, you can do the shit internally too, but we're not just trying to juice up all of our internal energies and never do anything in reality. You get what I'm saying? You can actually use the 12th house to stand on these things in reality. You can stand on your dreams. You can walk through your dreams in reality and shit like that. So that's how I use the house system, and pay attention to every energies as these things trickle down, and you actually experience that wave of influence coming out through your feet and seeing it in reality and shit like that. So keep that in mind. But aside from that, like I was saying, a lot of fat people be extremely emotional because they have an overindulgence of being in their emotional space and shit like that. And whenever they were developing these things before they came into reality, that's why. So, like, for example, most of y'all would never know this about a fat person because y'all ain't actually like being close to fat people behind closed doors and shit like that. Fat people are the best motherfuckers in the world to come out and actually make it seem like they're extremely confident and kill you with the gift of gab and kill you with the jokes and shit like that, and seemingly being happy and all types of things like that. But trust me, behind closed doors, these motherfuckers be the most self-conscious, softest, like teddy bear type of people in the world. You know what I'm saying? And they be extremely self-conscious of their bodies and stuff like that due to them being too much into that emotional energy when they created these organs in the first place. So it play out, you got a fat ass gut now, and you got fucking heavy arms and shit like that. But pay attention. You know what I'm saying? These are some of the best people in the world. So y'all got to give these people grace. Just because a person is fat at the moment don't necessarily mean anything wrong with them. You get what I'm saying? Give these people some grace, because I love all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? But y'all be like the gentle giants of the community and shit like that. So but just pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? This shit play out in a multitude of ways. You know what I'm saying? So like for example, people with fucked up legs and stuff like that, like and only like their top half work. They're fucking broken from the 7th house down. They can't operate those organs at all. It might have been an accident that happened in life and they was too much in those energies throughout life, or you know what I'm saying, they disregarded those energies when they were creating these organs. So from the 7th house down just don't work anymore. So this person can't build up no type of status. This person can't utilize their Sagittarian energies and fucking shoot a flaming arrow off into the distance and shit like that. Like all of that shit. Just pay attention. It depends on how somebody correlates things internally and shit like that. Because you see people all the time who have been able to walk since they was born and they end up blind, or I said that wrong. You've had people who've been able to walk since they was born and they end up crippled, or you've had people who's been able to see since they was born and some type of accident happened and they become blind, or they become mute, or they become, you know what I'm saying? Different shit like that. This just lets you know what that person was doing to actually develop these things. And that's how you'll be susceptible to certain type of energies. If you don't know how to develop these things on your own time and shit like that, anybody with a status can come around and outshine your crippled ass, or fucking anybody with a good way of speaking can come around and silence you. Even if you're a person who is not mute, if you don't have the right percentage levels of energies in these environments, somebody can come around you and say something that will shut down your entire throat chakra system. You get what I'm saying? And all these organs won't be able to work anymore, as far as you're not going to be mute for the rest of your life. But when this certain person comes around and says things in these certain type of ways, you don't know how to combat that due to you not having the right type of energies in your throat chakra space. So therefore, you just go silent in that situation. You go completely dark in that environment and shit like that, in that area of life. So just get an understanding of the house system and get an understanding of what organs actually are developed from these energies and these lights and these chakras you're creating internally as a spirit. And then you'll be able to actually physically see in reality how this shit is playing out. The issues that you have at the moment that need to be adjusted, pivoted. You need to make a pivot in a certain area. You need to do something new in a certain area. You need to gain confidence to be able to do, you know what I'm saying? Because all these shits is tied together too. So you can be lacking in the 5th house region as far as shining your fucking Leo bright, your Leo light, your self-expression light, your sunlight and shit like that. This could be really dim. So you don't want to ever be seen in any type of way. You get what I'm saying? So that could be really dim. And when a person comes around with a brighter light that outshines whatever little pussy ass light you got going on right now, like I said, it's going to fucking go straight up to here. You're going to shut down. You might even be too afraid to make eye contact with a motherfucker like this, who is coming around and outshining certain aspects of you and shit like that, or putting a light onto certain things within you that ain't working properly or sufficiently at the moment, or is old and outdated and need to be adjusted. You get what I'm saying? So just keep this shit in mind. This has been a fucking good ass breakdown. Like, y'all, this is one of them videos y'all need to pay attention to for real. This is one of them videos everybody need to watch for real, because y'all actually see. And I showed y'all physical examples, of how the internal environment express outwardly with the stoplight and the sunlight thing. So y'all just pay attention. Don't get lost in this shit and thinking shit is just a certain way. Because look, this is another thing too, man. You can change anything. Everybody can change anything. I'm getting sick and tired of people being like, oh, that's just the way that I feel about this. That's just the way that I feel about this situation. You know what I'm saying? I need to honor how I feel about this situation. Yeah, honor how you feel about it, but change how you feel about it if it's not how you want to fucking feel about it. If it's something negative to you and it's fucking up your relationships, or it's fucking up whatever you got going on at the moment, why the fuck would you want to continue to feel that way? We can change the way we feel. We can change the way that we think about things. We can change the way that we view things. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, y'all just keep this shit in consideration. Like, don't get lost in the sauce on this shit. But we out here, bro. Peace. Thank y'all for tuning in.